really okay as soon as possible. And now here I would condense one settings. Well, now here is the points. Here is our significant moments. Well, Salam Habibi, how are you? I hope you're fine. It is me, Michaela de Santa. I am here with you. Accordance with titles, yes, today we are roasting here Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares in the topic of the world earthquake versus Bangladeshi terrorism. And now, yes, you are right. Our discussion is world earthquake versus Bangladeshi terrorism. And now, in this cases, here is the moment. So, what's happening here? Now, well, now here we can see. Here we are going to discuss. Well, about Bangladesh nuclear electricity and here earthquake terrorism on the foreign countries of as compared to Bangladesh or another international countries. Okay, now let's check at the moments. Now here we can see. Well, time has been wasted. Well, it is the girl's name Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares. Well, where we can see the sponsor, she is in women's to be a director of Spanish National Intelligence Centers. Yes, here today's topic is about Spanish Center Intelligence National Intelligence Centers directors role on the Bangladeshi terrorism about international earthquakes. Okay. Now, in these cases, here is the moments. Well. Now, let's topics. First of all, we are going to the points of the United States earthquake reports. As in here, source is earthquakelist.org/USA/major latest earthquakes. And now, in these cases, here is the points. There is the significant moments. Okay. Now, 9 years earlier, here is an earthquake in United States of America where places Anchorage. Hello, bye. Salam. And now here we can see some. Here is some comments. Salam, brothers. How are you? I hope you are fine. And Jai Sri Ram to you. Okay. Now let's focus on this. Well, as the Bangladesh Times, Jones 9 hours earlier, here is an earthquake with the magnitude of 5.6. Now, it can be probably artificial earthquake because the natural earthquake is not possible with the magnitude with to be 5.6. Now, in this cases, here we can see this points. Well, at the 14 hours earlier, here is another earthquake with the magnitude would to be 4. Okay. Now, in this cases, it can be a probably artificial earthquake because the earthquake time is almost here at a Bangladeshi times. The earthquake is morning 8 o'clock 50 minute past. Okay. Now let's check it. According with my Bangladeshi girlfriends, here I came to know here that in this cases in Bangladeshi time from morning 6 o'clock to afternoon 11 o'clock there was a 5 hours electricity crisis, but in that times Bangladeshi electricity at the second hours when Bangladeshi electricity has been crisis, we could see in United States of America there is an artificial earthquake with the magnitude would be 5.6. And now, here is the points when Bangladesh contains their 5 hours electricity crisis. Then, what is the secret functions of Bangladesh Rupur nuclear electricity centers? I mean, Bangladeshi Rupur nuclear power plants as a secret functions. There is a hypothetical discussions. Here I would see these points. Okay. Now here we can see the moments. Well, now okay. Now here is the significant driving routes from Spain, Madrid, the Spanish capital city, to Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh. Or here we can see this cases, and driving departure place would be Madrid, the capital city, Spanish capital city, and Chittagong, the naval city of Bangladesh, and where the supporter assistant person would be Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares, where the supported person would be Bangladeshi terrorist, probably Jelebi. Okay. Now let's check out the moments. Here is the points. Now let's check it. And here we can see the points. Now let's check it. Madrid, the Spanish capital city, is departure times, and arrival place would be here. Chittagong, the city, naval city of Bangladesh, and what is the points of New Delhi? Remove that. Okay. Now in this cases here, as a driving routes, what's the moments here? 11. Driving route is 11 kilometers, 340. I have guys 11,340 kilometers, 650 meters. That means it would be almost here 12,000 kilometers as a driving route between departure of Madrid, the Spanish capital city, and arrival would be Chittagong, the Bangladeshi naval city. And now, in these cases, now here is the times that here we can see these points. Now, let's check the moments. Here we can see Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares would support Bangladeshi terrorists to conduct an nuclear terrorism, earthquake terrorism on where? The earthquake terrorism on here, La Jolla, the city of California of Bangladesh. Now here we can see this the times at the moments. Okay. Now let's check at the points. Well, incidence was here morning 6 o'clock. Now here earthquake incidence was at the Bangladeshi time morning 9 o'clock 10 minutes to and futures, and date is August 8, 2026. Now here is the point. What is the probable incidence in here August 7, 2026, where Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares support the Bangladeshi terrorist Jamatia to conduct an earthquake terrorism on California, the provincial state of United States of America? There is the questions. Okay. Now in these cases, well, now Esperanza, Casteleiro's Liamazares departure time is probably morning 6 o'clock, August 7, 2026. And here we can see the points. Here when the yes, and arrival time would be morning 6 o'clock, 1 second past 11 August 7, 2026. And now your travel time is 1 second But since the travel distance is 12,000 kilometers, here we can understand that here the velocity of Esperanza Casteliro's private car is 12,000 kilometers per second. And now that is the significant points that it is the very significant concerns for United States sovereignty from artificial earthquake. And now let's check out the points. Here we can contest the 2 minute times for others. And now, now here we can see I would reply the adhan in here. Well, adhan is Adonai Hu Akbar, Adonai Hu Akbar, Adonai Hu Akbar, Adonai Hu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Adonai, Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Adonai. Ashhadu anna Prophet Moses Rasul Adonai, Ashhadu anna Prophet Moses Rasul Adonai. Ayalal Yudi Salat, Ayalal Yudi Salat, Ayalal Yudi Salat, Ayalal Yudi Salat. Adonai Hu Akbar, Adonai Hu Akbar, la ilaha illa Adonai. Okay? And now let's check the moments. Now here is the cases. What's going on? Now in this cases, here we can see that is the moments. Velocity is 12,000 kilometers per second. Here velocity has been discussed and travel time has been discussed. And now driving. What is the driving kinetic energies? In this cases, driving kinetic energies was here because your velocity is 12,000 kilometers per second. That means it is 12 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meter per second. That means your velocity square is 144 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 meter square per second square. Okay. And now in this cases here is the moments. What is half or weight of the car of Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares, the women to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Centers. In this cases, their question is the half of weight of the car would be 1,000 kilograms. Now, what is the in this cases? What is the velocity that is the when the travel time is 1 second? This calculation or calculated distance is the definition of velocities. And in this cases, kinetic energy becomes kinetic powers. Okay. And now here we can see accordance with kinetic powers calculation of the car of Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares, accordance with Isaac Newtonian kinetic powers. Now here is the questions. What is your kinetic powers methods calculation? That will be here 1000 multiplied by 144 multiplied by 10 to the power 12. Now what is 12 sum by 3? That is 15A. That means here kinetic power is 144 multiplied by 10 to the power 15A. That it is the 10 to the power 15 joules. When the travel time is 1 second, here the unit is joule is actually unit is watts. Okay. And now here favorite fuel of the Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares car is always petrol. Hence, well, the now we know this. What is the density of petrol? That is 0.778 kilogram per liters. And here, what is the specific heat of petrol? 2 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And the highest temperature dependence is 50 degrees Celsius. And now 2 multiplied by 50 is always 100. Okay. Now here is the calculation points. Well, 15 multiplied by, I apologize. Now let's come to the points of kinetic powers. 144 multiplied by 10 to the power 15 watts is here 144 balance megawatts. And because 15 is 6 sum by 9. And in this cases, now here we can see what is the calculation of the petrol measurements, petrol fuels calculations. Here is the significant choice as the moments, and here we could see. Now in this cases, now let's check here we could notify that what's happening here. Well, 144 multiplied by 10 to the power 15 can be divided by words. That can be divided by bracket of 100, well, multiplied by 0.7778 bracket close. And now let's check is what's going on. That is here 1.86, well, quadrillions megawatts. Now in this moments, water was 1.86 quadrillion megawatts, where 1 liter petrol costs $2. That means here we can see the points. Well, 3.72 quadrillion $. And now here we can see the points. But according with the latest searching of the Spanish gross domestic products, here we could see this points. Spanish gross domestic product was 2.05 trillion $. Now let's check out what is the meaning of that. 2.05. Now here we can see quadrillion. 1 quadrillion divided by 1 trillion can be expected as an 1000. And now in this cases, here is the points 1000. Now here is coming points to where the modest. What is 1860 can be divided by 2.05. Okay. Now here we can see there is the points to be noticed, and there is the times to we can see 1860 can be divided by 2.05. That would be here 907. That means here we can see it is the clear-cut bonds. Well, and that can be multiplied by words. In this bonds that can be multiplied by 2. Okay. Now in this case here Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares is dedicated to destroy here. Well, she is dedicated to destroy Spanish gross domestic products with the 1815 times, only in the purpose to arrive to Chittagong, the naval city of Bangladesh, to support Bangladeshi terrorist Jelebi, to start the journey to contact an earthquake terrorist attack on California, particularly in the city of the California provincial state of United States of America. And now that is the significant case. Is here is the significant dangerous points. Okay. And now let's check it. What's happening in the points to be noticed? Here several troops are dedicated to deport to attack, contact and earthquake terrorist attacks on several places. Okay. And now here we can see these points. Let's come into the points about the naval terms. And now here we can see what is the naval routes. Here we can see naval departure is Chittagong, the naval city of Bangladesh, and here arrival is La Jolla, here the city of Port of California provincial state of the United States of America. And in these cases, here we can see the points. What is the middle routes? Official middle routes. Here middle route is Cape Town, the city of South Africa. And now here we can see what is the travel routes at the points. Well, Well, from departure from Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh, here we can see, well, naval route is unofficial naval route is sea beach of uh, western Malaysia and western Indonesia, sea beach of here western Australia, and sea beach of the southern South Africa, where in this cases here crossing route is here southern Indian Oceans and northern Atlantic Oceans. And now, after crossing the all sea beach of South Africa, here crossing traveling points is here southern South Atlantic Ocean and northern uh, Antarctica Oceans. And hence here sea beach the of southern Argentina and the Chiles, and hence here the entire sea beach to be here under eastern Pacific Oceans. Hence the sea beach of Mexico to arrive on La Jolla, the port of California, the city of United States of America. And now here we can see these points. Here is the significant dangerous moments that can be notified at all. Okay. And now here we can contain the significant terms. Just we have to wait and watch. Okay. Now here is the points to be noticed. Now I have to show you the following points. What was that? Here we can see these points here. The naval travel distance is 19,208.7 nautical miles. Now here is my question is, what is the meaning of 19,208.7 nautical miles? Now in this cases, well, and here we can notify at the points. Well, now Roop. Okay, I apologize. Nautical mile, 2 kilometers. And now, well, 19,208.7 nautical miles. Now let's check this. What is the meaning of that? That is almost, well, 36, I apologize, 35,574 kilometers, 512 meters, 400 millimeters. And now, what is the meaning of that? As a round figure, that is almost 36,000 kilometers is the meaning of 19,208.7 nautical miles. And now here we can see these points. Now here we can notify at the journeys. Okay. Now in this cases, here is my questions. Well, now I would do my personal research. Okay. Now what is here 36 can be multiplied by 7. That would be 252. Okay. Now in here is the moments. Now what would be the naval velocity of Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares submarines under the support of Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares? That would be 252,000 kilometer per second. And now in this case is the points. Well, and now, but when your travel distance is 36,000 kilometers, then what is the meaning of here the velocity, submarine velocity to be 252,000 kilometers per second. And in this cases, here is the points. Well, as a calculation we could notify that is the significant surprising at the moment. Now let's check it. Here we can see the meaning is that the naval timing would be 0.143 seconds. Now what is the meaning of that? Now let's take the moments. And now here we can see, now in these cases, we know that in the Bangladesh times here, artificial earthquake with the magnitude of 5.6 has been occurred in here morning 8 o'clock 50 minutes past August 8, 2026. Well, here we can notify that here is one submarine. Departure time is morning 8 o'clock, August 8, 2026, and the arrival time would be here. What is the arrival times? In that cases, the arrival time would be here morning 8 o'clock, 1 second past August 8, 2026, according with the Bangladesh time zones. Now, in these cases, well, when in Bangladeshi time zones, August 8, 2026 morning 8 o'clock means here evening 7 o'clock, August 7, 2026, and here we can see that that is the significant points. And now let's check the moments. Well, the times between the second hour and third hour of the 5 hours of electricity crisis in Bangladesh, I mean particularly Dhaka of Bangladesh. Here was one artificial earthquake in California, provincial state of United States of America, with the magnitude to be 5.6, and that is the significant points that here Rupur Nuclear Electric Center is accountable for the United States artificial earthquake with the magnitude to be 5.6 is as a earthquake magnitude. Now let's check at the points. Here we can see now in the at the first what the first earthquake? The first earthquake was in the United States time zone, August 7 o'clock. Here evening 4 o'clock 47 minutes past. That means here we can see the points. According with New York time zones, here departure time of Bangladeshi terrorist submarines under the command of Liamazares with the support of Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares to be the women to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Centers. Well, departure time is here evening 5 o'clock, August 7, 2026 at the New York time zone, and arrival time is evening 5 o'clock, 1 second past August 7, 2026 at the New York time zone. And now in these cases, what was happened in this case? In another troops earthquake terrorist attacks, here artificial earthquake is occurred with the magnitude to be 4. And now in these cases, what has really happened in the points in the 2 hours moments? And in these cases, here we are going to discuss that how much nuclear chemicals has been carried from Chittagong to Las Vegas to conduct an artificial earthquake attacks. And now let's check at the moments. Now here we can see earthquake magnitude is when the earthquake magnitude is 5.6. Here earthquake magnitudes, what is the major earthquake magnitudes, earthquake energies? That is 10 to the power bracket of 1.5 multiplied by 5.6 bracket close. And now in this cases, let's take it. It is our first calculations. Okay. Now and now it is this points. Now here we can see that is air. Well, the kinetic energies is 251,188,643 joules. As a round figure, that is almost 252 million joules as the energy of artificial earthquake with the magnitude of 5.6. Okay, and now in this cases here is the moments. And now let's check at the points at to be noted. Okay, now here is coming the moments. Now second is here 4. When the magnitude is 4, what is the energy of the earthquake? Now 1.5 multiplied by 4 is always 6. Now it would be almost 1 million joules, of course. As a now let's check is what is the combined energies of two major earthquakes with the magnitude to be 5.6 and 4.0. Now let's check at the moments. 10 to the power double bracket of 10 to the power bracket of 1.5 multiplied by 5.6 bracket close, double bracket close, and now that sum by bracket of 10 to the powers bracket of 1.5 multiplied by 4.0 triple bracket close. And now what is the case? That is almost 252,188,643.151 joules of the as a energy of two artificial earthquake, where one magnitude is 5.6 and another magnitude is 4.0. And now here we can see the points. When the topic is about here artificial earthquakes, and here we can see the here nuclear chemicals is unknowns, but it is near to here words hydrogen and or artificial solar arc reactors, but it is unknowns. Hence here a specific heat would be here imaginary. Now here we can see what is the specific heat. That would be here 20,000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin as an specific heat of unknown nuclear chemicals with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius multiplied by the following temperatures. And now that is the moments. In this cases, here we can see 1.894 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 665 kilograms of unknown nuclear chemical with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius, only in the purpose to conduct and two major artificial earthquake on where the artificial earthquake on here California provincial state of United States of America, where one magnitude earthquake magnitude is 5.6 and another magnitude is here 4.0. Okay, and now here is the moments. Here we can see I mean it is significant here, almost 2 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 665 kilograms of artificial earthquake chemical with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius is the arrangement from whom Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares, the women to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Center, where the supported customers is supported person of Esperanza Casteleiro is here Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares submarines. And now that is the significant ways, and here is the points that can be notified. Okay, and now let's check it. Here earthquakes has been mentioned in California, but now what is the travel times? That is the significant moments. Here travel times has been discussed, travel velocity has been discussed. Now let's come into the points about kinetic energies. And now when the velocity would be 252,000 kilometer per second, that would be here. Here calculations of the kinetic powers would be as a method of Albert Einsteinian kinetic powers. Now here is the moments. What is the complete weight of one submarine? That would be 34 multiplied by 10 to the power 6. Well, what is the complete weight of two submarines? That would be 68 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 kilograms. When one Spanish submarine's weight is 34 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 kilograms. And now we know that the velocity of light is 300,000 km per second. That means 3 multiplied by 10 to the power 8 meter per second. Hence, velocity square is 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 16 meters square per second square. And now, what is the statistic energy? In this case, the statistic energy of one Bangladeshi terrorist submarine is under the command both of Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares and Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares is to be women to be director of Spanish Spanish National Intelligence Centers. In this cases, here is the moments calculation of one submarine's statistic energy is 34 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 multiplied by 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 16. Now what is 16 sum by 6? That is 22. And what is here 34 multiplied by 9? That is 306. And hence here one submarine's statistic energy is what? That would be here 306 multiplied by 10 to the power 22 joules as a statistic energy of one Bangladeshi terrorist naval submarines. And now let's check at the points. What is the value of lambda subtract by 1? That is the questionable topics. And now in these cases, well, I would say this points. Here is the one moments. Now let's check at the moments at the points that would be clarified. 252 can be divided by what? 252 can be divided by 300. And that is the one that is here 0.84. And what is the square of 0.84? That is 0.7056. Okay. Now let's check what is the value of lambda. That is 1 divided by bracket of square root of bracket of 1 subtract by 0.7056. Well, and now enter time bracket close. And now here we can see that is the significant points to be notified, and that is here value of lambda is 1.843025. And now what is the value of lambda subtract by 1s? In these cases, the value of lambda subtract by 1 is here 0.843025. Okay, and now let's check it. What is the kinetic energies in these cases at the moments? Now in this moment, the points here case is that kinetic energy is calculation would be 306 multiplied by 10 to the power 22. That can be multiplied by what? In these cases, that can be multiplied by here 0.843025. And now let's check it what's the moments. Well, that is almost what? Yeah, that is here almost here. Well, 2.58 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules. Okay. And now here we can see this points. What is the kinetic force? We know that kinetic force calculation is kinetic energy divided by travel times. And now, what is kinetic force calculation? That is 2.58 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules can be divided by 0.143 seconds. But now we can see these points. Here is my questions. What is 1 divided by 0.143 seconds? That is almost 7 second inverse 1. And now here calculations becomes 2.58 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules. That can multiply by 7 second inverse ones. And here we could notify that is almost watts. That is here almost here 18.06 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 watts. And now here you can see that is the questionable points, and here is the significant moments. Now let's check if the questionable is here. What is the points to be noticed? 24, that is here 6 sum by 18. Okay, that means here we can see this points. Kinetic power is almost 18,060 quadrillions megawatts. That is the points. Well, and here we can see it is the dangerous moments. Here, Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares naval submarines can conduct an artificial earthquake on California, the provincial state of United States of America, with a submarine kinetic power to be 18,060 quadrillions megawatts. Now here is the kinetic force calculations has been discussed, and now let's take at the moments. Well, what is the fuel cost? Where chosen fuel is cargo ship oil for your submarines, but fuel to conduct an artificial earthquake terrorism on California is here unknown nuclear chemicals with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius, where specific it is 20,000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Now, let's come to the submarine fuels, and where fuel cost would be paid by whom? Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares, the women to be Spanish National Intelligence Centers. And now, that is the moment. Here is the significant points. Well, what is the fuel volumes? Here, when fuel cost is here, what is the meaning of fuel volumes? Calculated fuel volumes, where fuel cost is of 1 liter cargo ship oil would be 1 United States dollars. And now here we can see that is the significant points, and here we can notify at the moments. Now let's check it here the point to be notified. 2.58 multiple by 10 to the power 24. That can be divided by words. That kinetic energy can be divided by bracket of 2000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin as an specific heat of cargo ship oils multiplied by 50 degrees Celsius as an highest temperature difference multiplied by 1.01 kilogram per liters as an density of cargo ship oils bracket close. And now let's check this. Where's the points? That is almost 25.55 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 liters of petrols. Now here we can see the points. What is 2 multiplied by 55? That is 100 tons. Well, that means 0.55 multiplied by 2 would be 1.1, right? And now let's check at the moments. What is 25 multiplied by 2? That is 50. That means here we can see this the moments here 25,000 applicants. Here we can see the cost of cargo ship oils to carry a submarines of Bangladeshi under Bangladeshi terrorist Jelebi to conduct and one artificial earthquake terrorism. That would cost here 51.1 thousand quadrillions United States dollars. And now for two earthquake terrorisms where one's magnitude is 5.6 and another's magnitude is 4.0. Here cargo ship oils of the Bangladeshi terrorist submarine cost is 102.2 thousand quadrillions United States dollars. Okay? And now here we can see these points. That would be the significant probabilities at the moment. Well, what is the meaning of 102.2 thousand quadrillion United States dollars when Spanish gross domestic product is 2.05 trillion United States dollars? And now let's check at the moments. And here we can see what is 1000 quadrillion divided by 1 trillion, that is always 1 million. Okay? Now in this cases, now here we could see that's the moments. Here 102.2 can be divided by what? 2.05. Okay, it is almost 49.853659, and that can be multiplied by 10 to the power 6. And now let's check at the moments, and here we can see that would be almost 49,853,658.54 times. That means in these cases, Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares is dedicated to destroy the Spanish gross domestic products with here almost 49 point what is the one? 49.86 million times to reach from Spanish capital city to be Madrid to support Bangladeshi terrorist Jelebi submarine in the Chittagong, the city of Bangladesh. Then here support Bangladeshi terrorist submarine under Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares to attack on to conduct and to artificial earthquake terrorism on California, the provincial city of the United States of America, with the magnitude to be 5.6 and 4.0. And now, here is the moment that is a significant threat, as we could notify here Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares gets support from Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares, the women to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Center, to conduct an attack on artificial earthquake attack on California. And that is the dangerous points to be noticed. Okay. Now here California's point is over. Okay. Now let's check at the moments. What is the Spanish points? Okay, now here we can see. Well, now in this cases, well, here is the moments. Well, earthquake list org/Spain/, and here we can see this is the points. Well, and here is notifiers at the points to be noticed. Well, here we can see in Bangladeshi times, August 8. Well, morning 6 o'clock. Here is an earthquake with the, what is the moments? Here is an earthquake with the magnitude of 2.1. And now let's check at the moments. Here we can see that is the backs to the moments. And now let's coming to the backs about the aeroplanes. And in this cases, now here we are trying to prove that how well Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares is anti-nationals. Now first of all, here as a flying route of Bangladeshi terrorists under Liamazares, here departure place is Chittagong, the city of Bangladesh, and arrival place is Madrid, the Spanish capital city, and the flying distance is 8,864 kilometers, 260 meters. As a round figure, that would be 9,000 kilometers. And now in this cases, here is the momentums at the points. Well, what is half of here Bangladeshi terrorist passenger planes under the command of Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares with the support of Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares. That would be here the points. That is the clear notified. There we can see. Well, here half of weight of the Bangladeshi terrorist passenger plane would be 2 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 kilograms. And now here you can see velocity is 9,000 kilometers per second. That means here 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meter per second. We are flying distance is 9,000 kilometers and the flying time would be 1 second. And now what is the meaning of that? In that case, here we can see morning 6 o'clock August 8, 2026. Here that is the departure time, and arrival time would be morning 6 o'clock, 1 second past August 8, 2026. And 16 years earlier, here as a contact of artificial earthquake in Spain with the magnitude would be 2.1. Okay, and now here we can see, let's contain the refreshments. Well, I require the refreshments as soon as possible, and here we can see the points. Well, what is your 10 to the power bracket of 1.5 multiplied by 2.1. That would be the significant moments that is always here. Earthquake energy is 1412.54 joules as an earthquake, artificial earthquake energies. As ground weaker, that would be here 1500 joules. Okay. Now, how much weight of artificial earthquake chemicals with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius would be required? Where provider is Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares, the women to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Center herself. Okay. Now here we can see that is the points to be calculated. And now here we can see that is the points. In that cases here we can see here 1500 joules that can be divided by what? 1500 joules can be divided by bracket of 20,000 joule per kilogram per kelvins as a specific heat of unknown artificial earthquake chemicals with the temperature of here 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. That can be multiplied by the following temperature bracket close. And now let's check at the moments what the points to be noted. Here we can see the requirement of weight. What is the weight of requirements? That would be here 1.2 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 670 kilograms of artificial earthquake chemicals with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius, when here the specific heat is 20,000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. Okay. Now here is another part. Now let's check at the points here. What is the kinetic energies? Here we can see when the travel time is 1 second here. Kinetic energy is kinetic force and calculated distance is the definition of velocity. And now in this cases there is the moments. What is the calculation of kinetic force as a method of Isaac Newtonian kinetic force? That would be here 2 multiplied by 10 to the power 5. First of all, here we can see velocity is 9,000 km per second. That would be here 9 multiplied by 10 to the power 6 meter per second. Hence, velocity square is 81 multiplied by 10 to the power 12 meter square per second square. On the other hand, here is the moments. Kinetic energy calculation is 2 multiplied by 10 to the power 5 multiplied by 81 multiplied by 10 to the power 12. And now what is 5 sum by 12, that is 17. And here we can see what is 2 multiplied by 81, that is here 162. Here we can see the kinetic power is 162 multiplied by 10 to the power 17 watts, that is here 16.2 trillion megawatts. And that is the point. Now in this cases where what is the fuel, where fuel is petrols. Now we can see what is the fuel volume, that is could be here. Say 162 multiplied by 10 to the power 17 joules as a kinetic energy can be divided by bracket of 100 multiplied by 0.778 bracket close. And now let's check it. What is the results? Now here we can see. Here we can see nominal is 162 multiplied by 10 to the power 17 joules, and dominantals is here bracket of 100 multiplied by 0.778. Okay. Now here is the points to be noticed. Well, that is the clears. In this cases, that is almost, 208.2798 multiplied by 10 to the power 15 liters of petrol as a round figure, that is here 208.3 quadrillion liters of petrol. And now here is the momentums as we could see. Now what is the meaning of that? In this cases, here meaning is the significant points. Here, what is the cost of 1 liter petrol? That is 2 United States dollars. And what is 208.3 multiplied by 2? That is here we can say the 416.6. Hence the petrol expenditure on Bangladeshi terrorist Liamazares passenger plane would be 460.6 quadrillion United States dollars. Now here we can see the points. What is 1 quadrillion divided by 1 trillion? That is 1000. And now here we can see the formats. What is here 208,600 can be divided by 2.05. Now here we can see this one. So here 460,600 that can be divided by 2.05. And now here we can see the answer is almost 203,219.52 tons. That means in these cases, here we can see the points. Now, in the flying, in the purpose to support Bangladeshi terrorist passenger planes are under Liamazares to contact an artificial earthquake terrorism with a magnitude of 2.1. Here we can see Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares can destroy the Spanish gross domestic products with here 205,000 tons, and that would be separately points. And in this cases, here is the moment. Esperanza is an anti-national woman to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Center for her Spanish economy, and that is the significant concern at the moment. Okay, now let's check out the points. What about United Kingdoms? And here we can see. Let's come into the points about the United Kingdoms. Okay. Now we can see. Now in this points about United Kingdoms, here we can see this moments. Here, artificial earthquake terrorism is with a magnitude of 2.0. And now, what is the cases? In this cases, here we can see, according with Bangladeshi times, current Bangladeshi time is here night 9 o'clock of August 8, 2026. Now we can see the point that would be here. Last second years of Bangladeshi electricity crisis of the 5-year hours. It is the last second hours when here was an artificial earthquake terrorism in United Kingdom. Now let's check at the points. Magnitude is 2.0, hence here what is the energies, that is 1000. And in this cases here is the points that would be here significant times to be noticed. Here we can see that is the significant dangers. Well. Now let's contact the fish. Okay. Now let's check it. We want to take a fish. Now in this cases that would be almost worth 1000 joules to generate an artificial earthquake with the magnitude of 2.0. Here that requires here significant weight of artificial earthquake chemicals with the temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. When here what is the velocity? In this cases velocity would be here specific it would be here 20,000 joule per kilogram per kelvin. And now let's check at the moments, and here we can see that is the times. Well, 20,000 can be bracket of 20,000 can be multiplied by, well, 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. Because here 20,000 is joule per kilogram per Kelvin as a specific heat of artificial earthquake chemicals. And now here we can see there is the point. Well, it is almost 7.6 multiplied by 10 to the power negative 671 kilograms of artificial solar arc reactor with a temperature of 666 multiplied by 10 to the power 666 degrees Celsius. When here specific heat is here 20,000 joule per kilogram per Kelvin. And now this is the moments. Here is the significant points. Okay, now here we can context and the naval times. We can context and naval travels. And now here we can see. Well, I am ready to wait for 1 minute. And now here we can see the points. Now here is the travel notifications, and here okay, clear route Jindabad. Okay, now here you can see the points. Well, departure is here Chittagong, the city of Bangladesh. Okay, and here we can see where's the points to be noticed. Well, here we can see these moments. Okay, mid point is Cape Town. Cape Town, the city of South Africa. And here final destination is birds. Here we can see the final destination is London, the capital city of England, from United Kingdoms. Okay. Now let's check at the moments. Here is the significant terms. Now let's correct the roots at the moments. Here we can see that is the significant points. Well, here root is significant as soon as possible. Okay. And now here we can see that is the points to be noticed. Well, here we can check it the points. Well, here departure route is confirmed, clear. But now here we can see this point is arrival routes. Well, there is the problematics as soon as possible. Now we have to clear on Angola and Namibia. Then we have to clear on Equator, Guyana. Okay. Then we have to contents and one middle route in. Well, one port of Brazil. And now here you can see this points. Well, I think I contents and forgets at the moments. Okay. Now here you can see these points. Then we can contents and the port on Sierra Leone. Then we can condense the port on Gambiers, and then in these cases where we could see we can condense the port on well Caracas, the city capital city of Venezuela. Okay, and now we can condense the port on where New York, but in the middle points we condense port on here, middle of the Cuba. Okay, now here we can see we condense the spot on here what English channels. Okay, and here we can see the final, what is the final destination here? Final destination is London, the capital city of England. And now here we can see there is the points. Here is the significant moments. Well, 22,869.5 nautical miles. And in these cases here we can see well and the points. Now now here is my questions. I would contents. What is the meaning of 22,869.5? That is here we can found it on here nautical miles to kilometers. Okay. Now it is 22,869.5. The meaning to be containing the meaning to be here words 42,340 42,354 kilometers 340 meters. That means as a round figure we could state that is there 43,000 kilometers the meaning of 22,869.5 nautical miles. And now here we can see that is the points to be noticed. And in these cases, what is 43 multiplied by 5? That would be here 215. Okay. When here travel distance is 43,000 kilometers, hence travel velocity would be 215,000 kilometers per second. And now here we can see there is the points to be noticed. Well, it is almost here, that would be 72% of the velocity of light, near to 72% velocity of light. And now, in this cases, what is the naval timing? That here naval timing would be 0.2 seconds, my friends. And here we can see this points, that means the departure time would be here, morning 6 o'clock, August 8, 2026, and arrival time would be morning 6 o'clock, 0.2 second past August 8, 2026. And now that is the momentum at the points. And in this cases, here is the journeys, the significant points. Here travel distance has been discussed, travel timing has been discussed, and now what is the travel velocity, kinetic energies. And here we would repeatedly here contest their calculated kinetic powers as Albert Einsteinian kinetic powers. And here we can see the points. Well, here we can see this moments. What is 0.72 square? Now 0.72 square is here words. We can see this moments that is 0.518 Now here we can see this. We know that one Bangladeshi terrorist submarines are statistic energy under the command of Bangladeshi terrorist Jelebi with the support of Esperanza Casteleiro to be here 306 multiplied by 10 to the power 22 joules. And now in this cases here is the second point. That is the moments at the now what is the value of lambda subtract by 1. And now in this cases here is the moments. That is the dangerous point to be noticed. Okay. Now here we can see. Well, Value of lambda is 1 divided by bracket of square root of bracket of 1 subtract by words 0.5184 enter times bracket close. Now here we can see we contains the value of lambda to be 0. I apologize 1.4409761. And now what is the value of lambda subtract by ones? That would be here 0.4409761. Okay. And now let's check at the points what is the kinetic energies. In this case here the kinetic energy is as a calculated like 306 multiplied by 10 to the power 22. That can be multiplied by words. Well, 0.4409761. Okay. And now let's check what's going on. That would be here, it is almost 1.35 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules. And now, here we can see this point 1.35 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules can be divided by 0.2 seconds. Here the calculation is, we can observe, well, what is here 1 divided by 0.2 seconds, that is 5 second inverse ones. And hence the calculation becomes 1.35 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 joules of the kinetic energies that can be multiplied by 5 second inverse 1. And now here we can see what is the points that would be cases. In this point to be noticed, that would be here 6.75 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 watts. Okay. Now in this cases where fuel is cargo ship oils and one fuel is 1 liter fuel cost here 1 United States dollars. And now here we can see that is the moments what is the calculated fuel expenditure on one submarine, Bangladeshi submarines to attack on England with the artificial earthquake terrorisms. Now here we can see the calculation is 1.35 multiplied by 10 to the power 24 that can be divided by bracket of 2000 multiplied by 50 multiplied by 1.01. And now here we can see bracket get close. Hence the answer is here 13.4 multiplied by 10 to the power 18 liters of petrol. That means it is almost 13.4 thousand quadrillions United States dollars. And now what is the meaning of that? Here we can see that is the significant points. 1000 quadrillion divided by 1 trillion is always all millions. And now we can see the points 13,400,000 can be divided by words 2.05. And now let's check this what happens. That is almost 6,536,585.36. That means here we can see Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares is dedicated to destroy the Spanish gross domestic products with almost 6.6 million tons. Okay. Now in this case, here is the moments. What is the purpose? The purpose is only to conduct one artificial earthquake terrorism on England under the hands of Bangladeshi terrorist submarines under the hand of Bangladeshi terrorist Supreme Leader Jelebi. And now in this case the moments here that is the wish of whom? Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares. Where the irony is that if Well, after the fall of Bangladeshi Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, here Keir Starmer, the British transgender Prime Minister, was still supporting Spanish communist governments. And here, but still, in these cases, Esperanza Casteleiro, Liamazares is dedicated to destroy the Spanish gross domestic products with the temperatures Spanish gross domestic products with the almost 6.6 million tons. And now to spending on Bangladeshi terrorist submarines cargo ship oils. And now, what is the total destruction of Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares? In the Bangladeshi terrorist artificial earthquake incidents, here she is dedicated to destroy entire Spanish gross domestic products with almost 60 million tons. And now to conduct an artificial earthquake terrorism in both of England, Spain, and England, Spain, and the California provincial state of United States of America. In the following 5 hours, where Bangladesh contents has a lack of electricity in 5 hours. And now, that is the significant issues we could notify. Okay? Now, let's check at the moments. Well, here is my mentions that I have discussed the Bangladeshi terrorist, Jelebi and the allies to be here. Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares, where our roasting material was Esperanza, Casteleiro, Liamazares. And now, how is the anti-nationals, Spanish women, to be director of Spanish National Intelligence Centers, where she is dedicated to destroy Spanish gross domestic product with 60 million tons. Okay? Now we can see here, we can notify. Well, on my next time it would be here, repeatedly here, Sharia law in Madrid, and here I would discuss that how Sharia law is in Madrid is the referendum plannings of Esperanza Casteleiro Liamazares. Hence then, she want to bring almost 11.2 million illegal immigrants in Madrid, the Spanish capital city, where 11.2 million illegal immigrants can be probably the combinations of Moroccans, illegal Moroccan immigrants and illegal Bangladeshi immigrants. Okay? Now see you then. Khuda Hafiz. Love you.